links while you're trying to get turned to.
And good morning. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I am Free Spirit with your host, Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hope everybody is having an awesome Memorial Day. I'm going to turn the show over to Drew. Good morning, Drew. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. First and foremost, want to wish everybody a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. You know, this day is about important to me and my personal family background, being a direct descendant of founding father and being brought up. Most of us, not me, but most of my family have served in the military in one shape or form. This weekend and tomorrow is the day we set aside to honor all those who've sacrificed for our freedom, sacrificed for the things we get to enjoy this weekend. Picnics, barbecues, being with friends, family. And it's also a day to remember, as it should be every day, those that continually are serving now. I was in a space earlier. I don't usually talk in spaces, but I just wanted to say, wish everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend. Spaces really aren't my thing on Twitter, just because it's a little bit more chaotic than what we have going on here. But you know, most people don't know my history, and some people probably don't even know my name. As Bree introduced me, I am the host, creator of Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and it's titled that for a reason. I'm a direct descendant of founding father John Rutledge. You find his name on the Constitution. As a fact, in one of the podcasts, you actually showed written Constitution, showed his name.
Yes, I did.
I've had the privilege of reading some of his journals and stuff. I know his history, and I know what they foresee and wanted for this country. I know we've been going through a lot of dark times this year, past few years. Things haven't gotten any better; they've been getting steadily getting worse. You know, and I'm sure we're going to delve into topics like that today, and definitely tomorrow during the marathons. When we do the marathon podcast, I'll start streaming probably around 10, 11 o'clock and stream till 8. Invite a bunch of people on. They show, they don't. You know how it goes. But we've always had some fun times on Memorial Day and 4th of July when we do the marathon podcast. Open up call-ins. I'm doing call-ins different this year, guys. I am not posting the number. If you want to call in or if you want to take part, message me in chat or Twitter, Facebook, wherever you might be hearing this. Can't do the mines, guys. I am locked out. My phone is deactivated currently, so I can't get my authentication code to be able to log in. So I've got Bree kind of running the show from the back end today because can't. I can't access my own group on the mines unless I do it from my phone. If I do it from my phone through the internet, I can't access the gathering. So I'm just using the Jitsi app on the phone. So, uh, fair warning, we're going to keep track. Okay, I say about 30. That at the hour mark, we'll probably get disconnected. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. We just gotta restart the stream, unless mine's fixed that, which I highly doubt it.
And I will do my best to try to keep on it the best I can, but it's going from one room to the other because I'm also on mobile today, so it's not easy for me to bounce from one to the other, but I will do my best to try to keep the stream running fluid.
Yeah, it's been a little hands off for me for the past few weeks, but I've been playing catch up all month, trying to catch back up on the bills, not get evicted. Every time I've got a cool landlord, he's been understanding. He knows I've been sick. I'm finally feeling great, but life's life, and it's this month has just been a crappy month.
Let's delve into that. Let's just go there.
I can't delve into too much of that because I'm under confidentiality papers at work.
Well,
So
but within reason, you for the last 18 months, you've
actually, I don't want to delve into it at all because I got people that actually listen. So
okay, okay, fair enough.
I'm already at that point where I can't even be late and I'll be fired. So
Yeah, probably best to tread lightly there.
I just got that pay rate, $2.50 pay raise. I don't want to screw that up at this present point in time. But I'm not happy. Needless to say, no. And like you said, the past umpteen months, I've clocked in how much overtime? I mean, yeah. So no, that subject is a very sore subject for me. There's a few subjects that are very sore subjects that I'm not going to probably discuss or talk about. If you guys want to, you can. Bree knows what I'm already talking about. We've had this discussion yesterday. I am not going to venture down that rabbit hole.
And there are a few holes that was um, discussed early this morning, and this is one of the beautiful things. Drew had mentioned that he really doesn't like the spaces. I'm kind of starting to, the more I use the spaces and listen to the spaces, I'm kind of getting a vibe. But now this is just my opinion, and Drew and I have sounded off about the echo chambers. That's the trend I'm seeing.
Well, see, I haven't seen the echo chambers. This because it's something new to us. It's just some of them get real chaotic,
Very.
and I like the idea of it. It's always what it's what I've wanted for this channel, for the YouTube streams and stuff. That's why I stream from the mines because I can invite people in, have more than one perspective of things. But sometimes the spaces get a little overcrowded, and it's people. I enjoy listening to them. They've been great. I've experimented with them, and I'm going to play with them still some more. I'm not saying it's not. It's a good thing because it's something I like. It's just right now it's for phones and it's hard to unless I've got a moderator set up, and you guys know I very seldom have moderators. In fact, I don't have, other than Bree and Rob, I have no moderators. So I have to, and then a lot of times I do the spaces while I'm driving. So I can't, give people mics and stuff. It's something that I'm going to play with. It's new. I like it, but there's things I don't like about it. I don't know. It's going to take some getting used to and playing with for me. But I've enjoyed a lot of the spaces that I've entered. It's been interesting. And the fact it's actually open to anybody to walk in if you stumble on a link or stumble on the space. So you'll get many perspectives and views, and I love that. I love hearing the different opinions. Sometimes the heated arguments get interesting. It's been different. So yes, kudos to Twitter for allowing that. But within warning, because I've noticed that my that I myself have been shadow banned the last week, and which is weird because I haven't been posting anything. I haven't really been able to, unless I got an internet connection. I can't get, you know, can't get on my phone and comment or post from Twitter while I'm at work because I have no internet. But I'm used to not having a phone. I'm used to be more reliant on internet than most people. For the longest, my phone number was an internet Skype number. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone up until like 2013, 14, before I finally got one. Don't need it, and you really don't. It's been peaceful without it, honestly. Like a lot of things, it's been peaceful not having Twitter in my face all day, notifications popping up. It's been a break from things, but it's kind of kept me out of the loop on some things. But it's healthy. I've stated this plenty of times. Taking a break from social media, internet, TV, everything, technology wise, is the best thing and healthiest thing you can do for your life. We spend way too much time immersed on these social media platforms or tuning into these podcasts or turning the damn TV on and seeing the chaos of the world. I don't need to know the chaos. I see it every day. You know, Ohio, I see the farmers struggling to get crops out because of all the rain we got. And everything's so saturated, they're not able to. They're just now tilling their fields. They were getting ready to plant when we got 2 days of rain. And because everything's still so saturated, they have standing water in their fields again. So, yeah, things are bleak, especially when, we've been heard the food shortages talks. Farmers are struggling to get things out. The price of gas is ridiculous. The price of diesel is really ridiculous. We're already seeing the impact on that. We're seeing truckers change their delivery schedule, companies change their delivery schedules so they don't, some eliminate have stopped 2 or 3 times a week at one place and just go, well, we're gonna ship all this at one time. That way we can avoid. And I've seen places turn stuff down. We don't have room for it. You know, we're already got too much inventory, or we have these days scheduled to deliver. So things are starting to happen that maybe most people don't see because they work in different areas and things. But I think all of us seeing it, and just in our little niches where we're at, and it's getting scary out there, and it's not getting any better. That's how many people today this weekend I know. No, normally this weekend I'd be at my parents'. You know, out fishing, kayaking with friends and family, going to barbecues and stuff. This weekend I'm at home alone. Can't afford it. Can't afford price of gas. A quarter a tank of gas for me is $56. Not happening. And it's basically a quarter of takes me a quarter of a tank of gas to get from my house to my parents' house or to work. So I mean, at $56, that's $112 there and back. I don't got $112. I mean, if I had $112, my phone would be reactivated. A little bit more than that, but you get my point. I'd have more food in my refrigerator. But hey, prices of food is expensive. I'm actually going into my backups now, which is not a big thing. I'm only feeding one person, so I make something that lasts, and I don't have to use a bunch of stuff to make a meal for just one person. I make enough for today, and it'll carry over tomorrow, and that's it. You know, but I'm used to living kind of like that. I'm used to not splurging on things. But it does suck, when you get to them like this weekend, not being able to go to the parades, to the cemeteries, because I like going to our local cemetery where my grandfather's buried and his brothers, all which served during Korea.
Okay, can I jump in here for a sec, Drew?
Yep.
Um, I seen something yesterday. I was getting ready to go out and do some work, and something popped up on my phone, and I don't think a lot of people truly understand the coin. Uh, we go through a lot of the cemeteries and whatnot, and a lot of people don't understand the why we place coins on top of graves. A lot of people don't understand why why we place coins on top of graves. What the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, what those symbolize, yet how frequently when we're going through those places that should be hallowed ground, frequently you look over and you see people swiping those coins. You know, how disrespectful, how hateful that can actually be, how damaging, you know, how callous can of a society have we gotten to think that, oh, it's just coins. And I heard that right away this morning on the radio, that somebody actually was caught stealing coins off a grave, and a veteran actually had seen it and reported it. I was like, wow, you know, how fucked up have we gotten as a society that we're swiping coins? You're gonna get maybe $1 at most off a grave. I mean, come on,
Well,
you know. Let's
I
be
mean, I don't
real.
think a lot of people understand the significance of that, but it's also a very old tradition. I mean, it dates back centuries, to basically to placing the two coins on the eye to pay, so the person can pay their passage across the river of Styx, or pay the ferryman of the dead. Is it carrion?
Yep,
To take
yep.
carrion to be ferried across. And even farther back in the Egyptian times, it was, you know, the whole Book of the Dead thing. It's an old, very old tradition that has many meanings.
Here in
But
America,
but I mean, but it also tells you the hard times that we have fallen on. Because most people would not desecrate graves like that, or desecrate a, a site like that. It's just one of those things, and some of it's people's ignorance. They don't know the history behind placing the coins on the graves of our fallen soldiers.
it just it boils my blood when I hear stuff like that. It really does.
It don't bother me. I see it for what it is, the sign of the times. It's just people hard up, and it's people's ignorance. There's a lot of that. It's kind of like I I hope we can get Hollywood on sometime today or tomorrow during the marathon session, because she's well knowledgeable and well versed on a lot of things, and she definitely brings up some good points. But it's like she pointed out, the ignorance of people. And we've talked about it on this channel many times. We talked about the indoctrination, the psychological warfare, the manipulation, the mind games. And I thought it was interesting that in that space today that, chaos magic was brought up and stuff like
I
that.
did too.
I wanted to chime in, but that's for me. That's another channel for another channel, and that's for. But there is a lot to that, especially with technology and stuff like that. It's that knowledge that's been taken away from people and
Well, I thought
misused.
that I think it was Owl that mentioned about um, storing books on uh, digital, storing it in external drives and stuff like that. I thought that was like, wow, next level. You know,
It's
everybody that
good at
knows me,
right.
that knows I store things like that for a lot of reasons. But I'm more into. I would much rather have the physical,
Exactly.
because what happens if
And
um
all it takes is an EMP, a solar flare, and all that shit's gone.
yep,
If you don't got it in a Faraday cage, you, you know, I'd rather have the real thing. I still have textbooks, my textbooks from college. From I've had old bought, we were able to buy back in the day that they'd sell the old textbooks at school, I still have the old
when
textbooks. They don't match the textbooks of today.
when I went to school in nursing, you didn't rent your textbooks. The fee that I paid
You didn't rent them when I
for
went to college
textbooks,
either. You could buy them
um,
used,
well,
but you had to buy them.
even that was,
But you also had the option of selling it back at the end of the semester when you didn't need it. But most of us
oh,
kept it because, I mean, fuck, you spent thousands of dollars on your textbooks.
just nursing alone,
I
medical
mean,
books.
oh my god, I don't even think what my fucking astronomy fucking textbook cost.
It's for the last year in nursing. My textbook fee to buy the books, even used, even used, was for three textbooks was $7,800 for the used ones. For new ones, it was over 11,000 for three textbooks. Three. Do you think I was going to uh, sell them back to the school at whether it was 7,800 or 11,000? Right. And the sad thing is a year after I left that class, those textbooks were and they were only 2 years old. Those textbooks were considered out of date.
Yep.
And now um,
Mm.
those
I don't want to interrupt you, but before I
go
get too sloshed, there is something I do want to take
fire
a
off.
shout out. Um, fellow brother, patriot, friend, Sword Point Nine, as many of you guys know him out there. Been on the podcast several times. Been on his a few times. We've all took part of Pirate Radio. Uh, Prayers to him and his family. His wife's been going through some medical struggles. She's just back, finally home, doing better, but she's got a road to recovery. He's to you, he's a fellow vet. He served for this country and served after his service in the military, doing in other branches. And I just want to give a shout out and thoughts and prayers to his family. Like I said, I've not been able to get on and do things. So when things come to my mind, I'm probably going to interject real quick. But yeah, go ahead, Bree.
It's and hoorah, Sword Point, thinking about you, brother. They uh, my guy's mowing lawn right next to my office. So I will roll away from my office for a moment while he's weed whacking. Um, the you know we see all too often, um, and this has been a common theme. I've been getting so many requests from a lot of soldiers, people who have taken the oath not once, not not twice, but some people that have taken the oath multiple times and stepped up and filled the gap uh, for this country. And what do they get when it's not them, but it's maybe it's one of their family? They get the oh well, sorry about your luck kind of mentality. Very very few times do you get the we're right there for you, um, and people are stepping up like they did uh, just a decade ago. It really speaks to just how far down we've descended as a nation to where it's no longer um, about the the togetherness and the family unity as a the the family of veterans that we once was. You just don't see that, and yeah, the sickness has changed that a little bit, but the diehards, um, even them, you don't see it nearly as much, and then we have the the diehards that we're losing so much faster than, and we've always referred to the veterans of World War II as quite possibly the greatest generation ever. You know, all those guys are pretty much gone. I think there's what, um, maybe 20 of them left alive.
Two or three.
Oh, we're down that low now.
Yep.
And Vietnam vets are
They're
40
up
or
there.
50 a day. 40 or
Yeah.
50 a day we're losing.
Well,
Um,
we lost a bunch of the Vietnam vets to PTSD, suicides, and stuff. We still got a tremendous amount of fucking suicide rates amongst our vets
what
and the
aggravates me
homelessness.
about that is surrounding the
That's
Vietnam
speaking
vets.
of which, that's another shout out to Coda Vets who go around and been helping them. It's like every day I see a new post of vets needing help. They're helping raise money for them, so it's another good group of organization that I see on Twitter that are constantly doing things for our vets out there who are in need. So shout out to them too.
The one that I see, um, there's so many veteran groups out there doing yeoman's work. Um, what aggravates me, you see these posts of 22 a day, but which a
That's
decade ago,
uh, and that's just the reported
that's what I'm
number.
saying.
The 22, it's more than 22 a day.
It's over 30 a day, over 30, and it's sad. And how many people actually talk about the the United States' dirtiest little secret? It's our inability, unlike other nations, Canada, the UK, Australia, in particular, um, fuck, even Russia takes better care. Russia takes better care of their veterans in distress than America does.
Well, no, it's not America. Let's nip that in the bud now. It's the institution. It's the corrupt government facility that we have that's steadily destroying this country, destroying the concept of what the United States is. It's the beacon of the hope of the world. It's freedom, the freedoms that we have, regardless what freedom you want to nitpick at. It's all of our freedoms, and we have traitors in Congress that's constantly undermine it. Supposedly, we have this huge crisis here in the United States. Worldwide, it's a worldwide crisis. There's food shortages. But yet they want to send billions. We're talking almost triple figure billions to Ukraine, who's not a NATO ally. We're not allied with them. In fact, there should be an investigation into the Biden and his administration because of the ties they have to Ukraine and the fact potential being blackmailed. But we had congressmen and women in the House and Senate vote the people that we put into office that are supposed to represent us give billions to a third world country that we're not even allied with when we have a crisis out of their own damn mouths here in the United States. We have gas crisis, food shortage crisis, record national debt, which we just added to by sending a third world country we're not allied with billions of dollars that won't get put to what it's to use. We've seen this time and time again. Every time our Congress gives another country money, the money doesn't go to the people, doesn't go where it's promised to go. It goes into to the corrupt bureaucratic hands. Puerto Rico, for an example, back when they had the hurricane that devastated it, not even months after the money was sent, we found out it went into politicians' hands. It never reached the people, never went to rebuild, buy food. I'm sick and tired of these so-called politicians that say, we represent you. No, you don't represent us. You represent a third world country. You're nothing but seditious traitors to this country. Every single one of them. There was and for all they said, oh, I'm voting red. Yep, you're going to vote the same damn, what, 20 Republicans in the Senate that voted yes to send billions of dollars, over $40 billion to Ukraine when we got a crisis happening right here. You're part of the problem. When you have that mentality of left, right, blue, red, you're part of the problem. We're not to be basing our votes on a label. We're not to be basing our votes on a color. We're supposed to be basing our votes on a person and their actions, not their words. Have they done what they say? Have they stood up for American rights and freedoms, protected the Constitution, and obeyed their oath? Have they represented us throughout every office, whether it be school board or you know, general counsel? Have they done what they say they've done? Their actions speak louder than words. We're so caught up in this ideology that we have to vote red or blue instead of voting a person in based on their actions, based on the fact that they uphold the oaths that they've taken. They represent the American people and they defend the Constitution. I'm sick and tired of seeing these politicians get into office, into Congress and the House and the Senate, and be millionaires and billionaires over fucking before they're done with their first year term. In fact, I'm done. I'm tired. I would not vote for Trump at all this coming election. I'm tired of seeing the billionaires, millionaires, the rich, elitists in office. That's not what it was. Our founding fathers had envisioned for this country. They had envisioned as everyday people like you that listen to this podcast to be the representative of our states, the representatives of our country, because we know how things work. We know how hard it is to till that farmland, to plant that seed, to work in that factory. We know what needs changed. Not these celebrities, not these rich corporate bureaucrats that sold their fucking souls for their greed. No, Trump is not the answer in the next election. No, none of the named rich elitist politicians, celebrities are the answer. It's you sitting in there, your voice. You're the answer. Until you guys can break this vicious cycle of letting corporations run our country, foreign corporations stealing our elections because they're not bound by the competition. Like me and you, we can only spend so much money on a campaign where they can spend millions, but they're corporations here in the United States. So we don't question the fact that it's foreign owned, meddling in our elections. So yes, there is election fraud that goes on. You know who's guilt? Who's the reason behind that? Our Supreme Court for failing the American people by saying corporations are not singular a U.S. citizen. They are made up of U.S. citizens, so the Constitution does not apply to them. No corporation should be able to donate anything to a campaign. That's no different than pork barrel spending and lobbyists, which should all be banned from our political arenas. Nothing makes me more sick than seeing Amazon, Google, Walmart, you name it, corporations controlling our country. If you want to have a say in a country, run for an election. Use your own money to elect yourself. Otherwise, run your country, run your corporation, not our country. And it's time that we, the people, start not voting in the same idiots back into office. It's time we do our due diligence and make sure that who we put into office is one of our own and that their actions speak louder than their words. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. I want to know your actions, your stances on our Constitution. Will you uphold it and defend it clear down to the Second Amendment when a stupid idiot decides to use an inanimate object because he has mental health issues? Because his daddy wasn't around or whatever you want to say. Either way, an inanimate object cannot do anything. It takes a person behind it to make it work. Quit blaming the object, blame the person. But yet, we have politicians. All these guns need to be banned. Well, first off, the AR-15 is not an assault rifle because it is not fully automatic. It is not a military weapon because it doesn't have a fully automatic or a burst on it.
Actually, I can speak to the AR platform. It is a trainer rifle, and you must first get to an 85% or greater consistently before you are allowed to go to the M4 or the M16, depending upon which which branch of the military. There are some units, and it's unit specific because there are some units in the Army that still use the M4, but particularly M4 is a Marine rifle. Army still predominantly does use the M16 by and large, but it's specific units still go back to a Korean War weapon, which is when the M4 first came out. But even back then, the AR was a trainer rifle. Most people don't know that. So it's very interesting how people get that all confused. It's rather disheartening.
No, it's lack of education. Everybody wants to believe what their TV tells them or what their representative tells them, which is 90%, 98% of the time a lie. I mean, let's go back to the Vietnam era. We were still using M1 Grands.
Yeah, some units did use that.
They still,
And it was MOS specific too.
we were, and that was not even a fully automatic.
No, that's the sharpshooter gun. Phenomenally and boringly accurate rifle.
I mean, I'm tired of the Second Amendment crap. I'm actually tired of the NRA. Period. We don't need an NRA anyway. You know, our Constitution is simple. It's common sense. I recommend everybody go read the book Common Sense. Our Constitution is black and white. We don't need interpretations of it. It is common sense. We don't need things. I mean, well, I'm not going to go there. It is common sense, guys. It's self-explanatory. You have the freedom of speech, freedom of press, the freedom to express yourself. But every day they're trying to take that away. Every day these social media platforms are trying to take that away from you. You know, these spaces on Twitter. I mean, I don't, like I said, I up to today I'm not really, other than the spaces that me and you've done for testing and stuff. I haven't spoke on them in them.
I've spoke in now, well, not including yours, but I spoke in four. Um, and majority of them, uh, most of them, there's, I get this feeling of it's that echo. There's beginning to be that echo-ish.
See, now you just haven't been in a bunch of spaces. I haven't. That's what I've loved about the spaces. There's not that echo chamber because anybody can join. And I've
I,
been in a bunch where it's all sides in there, and you're getting. It's been enlightening and invigorating to watch, listen to, and observe these spaces. So, but what I tell you guys, don't be selective on the spaces. Just enter one randomly. You know, you'll see they're not as big. YouTube is an echo chamber.
see, I haven't spent. I'll go in. I'll listen for a couple of minutes, but I don't have the. I also don't have the time that I can go and sit for like half hour and listen. You know, I'll go in, listen for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I have to move on.
I get bored, so it's not like I have anything to do because most of my weekends I'm recovering from fucking 50-hour work weeks, or
Right.
so I'm pretty much just chilling. So I just put something on to listen to, and like I said, they're not as bad as you think. Some of them are, yes, some of them are echo chambers. You're right on that, but not all. Most of them are, mainly because it's open. But I've seen certain spaces where they've been vigorously on their with their admins or co-host to monitor. But for the most part, the ones I've been in, they let everybody speak, and that's what we need. Everybody needs to speak. Everybody needs to listen. Everybody needs to question everything, not take everything at face value. Fuck, don't take anything I say at face value. Question everything. Make up your own opinions and views, because that's what they don't want you to do. They don't want you questioning their narrative. They don't want you questioning why we celebrate this holiday. In fact, they don't want us congregating, so they're happy that the gas prices are high, the food prices are high, that most people aren't going to be traveling this year, this Memorial Day weekend, because people get together, they talk, they socialize, they communicate. They don't want that, and that's sad. Yep, yep.
Uh,
My TV guide was right. I'm not getting the race.
yeah, I just was looking it up, and this is this is actually what it says. And I'll read it verbatim. It says, it depends on where you live. After 2 years without blackouts, the race will not be available for people in the Indianapolis area again, starting this year. For everybody else, it can be watched with a for free with a good HD antenna. I
Well,
don't know
yes,
why they're blacking out the Indy area when you can't get a ticket. Um, I guess they're trying to get everybody to get
it's a Peacock thing.
yep, and that's sadly I caught other
It's about money. It's all it is.
I've caught other motorsports and big names uh, that are they're wanting to go that way. Um, sadly, and when they go that way, even if it's for whether it's for like their uh, a championship or whatever, that'll be the end of my support for that sport. Period. Done. You've lost my loyalty forever at that point. When you start going to a subscription base, nope, I'm done.
I mean,
I'll walk away.
it's been the trend though. I mean, a lot of the shows I love to watch are now on Discovery Plus or any of the other offshoots that they've created, so they can make more money.
Well, let's be real. Look at the juggernaut of how many networks Discovery actually owns. 38 networks they own. I mean, fuck. You
And I'm
know,
sorry, I'm not going to spend, even though it's like $5. I'm not going to spend $5 to watch the shows that I love. Screw you. I got cable because I watch these shows. You're just giving me an excuse to dump my cable or have
it,
less channels at a cheaper price. I mean, it's that's and more people take views like that instead of jumping. Okay, they took my favorite. Fuck them. It's about the money. You control we're the consumers, and actually we control that. If we don't buy and we don't jump every time they create something, and we're willing to, okay, fine, we'll just watch something else. And guess what? You'll probably find something else way better than what you were watching or more educational. And a lot of my channels are education that I watch, history and stuff like that,
yep, yeah. You
or
and I
paranormal.
our view, our watch is very similar.
So when they do that shit, now I have HBO Max because it came with my phone. Other than that, I wouldn't have it. So actually, I don't have it now. So it's gotten ridiculous. But we're programmed to every new thing, just like the new iPhone, which they're getting rid of. Thank God. But that's been the common trend. Everybody has to have the new iPhone because the other one's obsolete.
Yeah,
You guys have been
I,
programmed and brainwashed. And let's talk about chaos magic. That's what it is. It's psychological warfare. You're programmed. We're just like we're programmed on these platforms to have all these followers, all these likes. If we don't get these likes, you know what? I'm happy with the 80 some I have on YouTube because that don't mean shit. I have thousands of people that I reach because I'm on multiple platforms. I don't take what YouTube tells me I have and take that as the golden rule. Plus, I don't care. Quality is better than quantity any day of the week. I don't care. And actually, you dislike my video, you hit the thumbs down. Fuck yeah, I did something right. I made you think. I triggered you. That's my job. I made you think. I'm supposed to make you think, or else I wouldn't be doing this. I'm supposed to make you use your mind that you let somebody else use for you and make you think, make you question things, make you question what I'm saying. And quite frankly, I don't play the schoolyard games. I don't give a flying fuck what you think of me. Don't care about your opinions about me. Don't care if you like me, hate me, or whatever. You have no meaning in my little world. I do this as a service to you because it's needed. I share a little bit of my history, yes. I share history more than anything. History is important. Why we celebrate Memorial Day is important. And it just doesn't go to our military vets and military. It's also our first responders, our police, everybody puts their lives on the line every day. And that even includes you guys listening that work factory jobs because factories are dangerous and you put your lives on the line going to work, driving to work, crossing the street to get your mail. It's the day we remember those who have done things for this country, whether it be in the service or everyday things that we overlook. The factory workers, the blue collar workers, the farmers. Memorial Day has so much more meaning than just our fallen soldiers. But we give it that high esteem for our soldiers when it represents all of us. This day we memorialize. It's nothing much different than Cinco de Mayo, the Day of the Dead. We honor and the memories of our fallen, as it should be. Because everybody that's passed throughout history has touched somebody, lit a spark under somebody, made them who they are today. I'm not big on a lot of things. I'm not big on religion, but that's because I've studied the history of all religions. And there's nothing wrong with being spiritual. Everyone should be spiritual. It's the dogma that hurts. It's the dogma that kills. That's the dogma that controls. That's what needs removed. Not God, or whatever you choose to call your God, but those that use it to control people through fear. To teach them this is wrong, this is right, when you should have your own opinions and views of what's right. You know, I did an academic paper, wrote an academic paper about the root origins of the words heathen, pagan, and heretic. And it means common folk, free thinkers. Because the free thinkers will think and question. This is what it stems throughout all history. The free thinking people are the enemy to those that wish to control and rule and abuse their power because we'll question them. We'll question things and we'll stand up and be vocal about it. They don't want that. They don't want you questioning anything. They don't want you to go against the status quo. You go against the status quo, you're the enemy. We've created all kinds of labels for them. I know I'm one of those labels. I am a domestic terrorist. Why? Because the government so deemed so because of the Patriot Act. Last year, we had parents that opposed the school board being called domestic terrorists and labeled as domestic terrorists by our government bureau. The day our government bureau starts labeling people as domestic terrorists is the day they have become so tyrannical that they no longer represent the people or this country. Understand that. We have people that are still locked up because of January 6th under inhumane conditions without due process. Why? Because they are labeled as domestic terrorists. So therefore they aren't entitled to due process. Everyone by our Constitution is entitled to due process, no matter if you are a domestic terrorist or a terrorist. You have the right by our country's laws and our Constitution to be tried with a due diligence and process. Well, we overlooked that after 9/11. We gave away so much after 9/11. We may have been so united, we overlooked what our government was doing and the laws that they were passing that stripped everybody of their freedoms, that allowed them to call our vets domestic terrorists, that allowed them to call anybody that questioned them domestic terrorists, to allow them to call parents of school that attends the school board and protest against the school board what the school board was doing and trying to teach their children domestic terrorists. We have a problem, and it ain't this country, it's the people we put in charge. And I don't care who they are. I do not. Anybody that's currently in office needs removed. Not elected back in. I don't care who they are. Don't care what their label is. I don't even care right now at the point that they've actually done their job because they are part of the problem. If they weren't part of the problem, they'd be out there in the streets screaming at the top of their lungs what's going on in session, what they're not doing every day. They would be the town criers to us, and people would listen, but they don't. They'll go on podcasts. Oh, they'll talk about it, but they're not out there in front of Congress, in Congress, screaming at the top of their lungs about these injustices. So they're part of the problem. From the top to the bottom, it all needs replaced. And it doesn't need to be replaced with our rich, our wealthy, our celebrities. It needs to be replaced with everyday people like you and me. The people that were meant to hold these offices. Not these corporate executives, not these billionaires and millionaires, oil tycoons that ran things in the 80s and 90s. They're part of the problem we face today. They help put that domino in effect. Understand your history. Our recent history is just as important as our past history because they set these things in motion 10 years, 12 years, 20 years ago, and they're constantly setting new things in motion. Things that'll will slowly transpire over the next decade, next 20 years. And they get away with it because we keep reelecting these people into office. If my founding father got something wrong, it was not putting term limits on our politicians. But I get it, I've kind of read the journals. I see his point of view on it. Back then, it wasn't 50 some states. It wasn't all these different representatives. It wasn't a huge Congress. It was just one or two people from each of the states, which were only 13 at the time. They never seen it getting as big as it's gotten. And those that did see it getting as big as it got, they didn't see it getting as enormous as it got, where we've got all these people there from each state when it was only meant to be a couple. Let's talk about wasting money. And these guys are starting to make a career out of it at our expense. I mean, when do you guys? I don't get it. Where's that proverbial line that you just don't cross? Where's the straw that breaks that camel's back? I mean, you keep allowing this shit to happen. You keep voting the same people in or falling for the same lies from another person. This country needs a great awakening. Really, it does. People need to get back to reality, not the fantasy world. But they want you in the fantasy world because they can control you because you've given up your identity. I've talked about it briefly, probably more than briefly, but that's what the whole transgender, transhuman agenda was about. It was stripping you of your identity. I mean, common sense. Your DNA dictates what you are. Whether you're male or female, you can't change that yet. Just like state of New York State or state of New York, you can now this is probably the most racist thing I've ever seen or heard or read. You can now on your driver's license choose your identity or your gender as X. X marks the spot or sign your mark, which was an X for the slaves. For those that couldn't read or write, the impoverished, the poor, they would sign their mark with an X. That's what the state of New York has told everybody. You are slaves. You can choose X. Please put your mark as your gender as an X. Stripping you of all dignity and humanity.
Yep. It hasn't.
Well, there was the hour mark. Boy, I had too much
It
to drink
went.
because I completely missed it. And actually, that was not the hour mark because
It went way past an hour. It went
no,
like.
it didn't even go past an hour.
Yeah, I did. I was
No,
watching
no,
it.
no, 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 it didn't. When we started the live stream, we was already 13 minutes
Yep.
inside this group. It's only an hour and 12 minutes. So no, it was not a full hour.
When I looked at the timer, it said on YouTube. It actually said 1 hour on YouTube.
I can't see the timer on YouTube, so
I can. It had actually said an hour because we've been streaming an hour and 2 minutes now on YouTube. But I did not see. I'm gonna have to go check real quick because I did not see that live streaming started. It's showing on the C panel that we're live.
yeah, we're live. We're live on YouTube too. So
Um,
I didn't catch it, but
that
blame that
was
on the
weird.
alcohol.
I was sitting. I'm sitting in the office. That's how I caught it. Um, it's just weird how usually when either one of us hits the reconnect, you'll see that uh, streaming has resumed. I didn't see that this time.
I did it. It'll announce it first. Live streaming has started, but right before it announces it, you'll see the live blue thing pop up.
It didn't this time. I didn't see it on my side.
It did on my side.
Okay. Well, at least I know I can do something right.
Yeah, because we'd have been screwed if you left it up to me.
Well, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. I don't know how many hours I'm going to be able to go tomorrow.
It'll be real interesting because this will be the first time I've not been able to do it from the actual computer and have to do it from my phone, thanks to fucking Minds.
I'll be good for a while, but I don't know how long. It's really going to depend on how early you want to start.
I don't know. Usually, how I do the Memorial Day podcast, I usually start around 10:30, 11, depending what time I get up. Or probably as soon as I get up and make some breakfast. Or it depends how drunk I am tonight. That's all I got to do is drink and watch TV. So, watch the races. I mean, I don't got nobody to kick it with.
I see that Monaco just ended, and I missed because I was sitting in here in the office, and I don't have unfortunately, I don't have a idiot box in the office because, well, if I had a TV in the office, well, I'm just going to be real. how much work would I actually get done?
I get a lot of work done. I mean, considering well, right now I only got two monitors hooked up. Well, I got a monitor and the TV hooked up.
I
So
want,
I
I
get a
know
lot
me.
done.
I know me. I mean, I have one, well, my other
But then
monitor,
again, I'm I'm exceptional at multitasking. I mean, I've got usually have multiple windows on two different screens, or back when I actually had all four of my monitors hooked up. I mean, there'd be all
well,
kind. I'd be watching a YouTube video. Uh, Sling might be on the other monitor.
the issue for me, I let, my, PDC streamer borrow, one of my monitors, and for me, if I really wanted to, well, I could theoretically bring a monitor in for the TV, so I could potentially watch TV in my office. But um, for me, if I'm in my office for one reason, and then I have security cam monitors, and there's two of those. And if I got too damn many monitors going, um, work just slows way down, and I just, yeah. And then I've got other things going on, and I just, if I have work to go, and work to do, it's like that shiny object thing. I
Speaking
just
of
can't.
shiny, I just came across something shiny. I mean, it goes back to
Okay,
goes back to history. I'll just give shout out to WTOL Toledo 11 News. Sometimes
I
they
just saw that.
give good tidbits. Yes, Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. The holiday originated with tributes for soldiers who died in the Civil War. Memorial Day, observed the last Monday in May each year, is a holiday that pays tribute to American military members who have died in service to the U.S. But the holiday hasn't always paid tribute to all fallen service members, and it hasn't always been called Memorial Day. Was Memorial Day originally called Decoration Day? Yes, Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. What we found. When the first national celebration of the modern Memorial Day holiday took place at Arlington National Cemetery on May 30th, 1868, the holiday was called Decoration Day. The first observance of Decoration Day honored soldiers who died in the Civil War, the deadliest war in American history. Let me rephrase that for them. The deadliest war ever fought on U.S. soil, other than the Revolutionary War. But at the time, we weren't America. So the Civil War has been the only war that we've fought on U.S. soil. The U.S. Army Airborne and Special Operations Museum says General John Logan, leader of the Organization for the Northern Civil War Veterans, called for a nationwide day of remembrance. He chose May 30th because it wasn't the anniversary of any Civil War battle. But tributes to soldiers lost in the Civil War occurred throughout the country in years before the 1868 observance. The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs has approximately 25 places, many in the South, where the bulk of the war dead were buried, have been linked to the origins of Memorial Day. Although it's unclear where exactly this tradition originated, the U.S. Army Airborne and Special Operations Museum says some records indicate that one of the earliest Memorial Day commemorations was organized by a group of formerly enslaved people in Charleston, South Carolina, less than a month after the Confederacy surrendered in 1865. The Library of Congress says the town of one second page jumped on me. Town
don't
of
you just
Bullsburg, Pennsylvania, claims to have observed Memorial Day tributes even earlier based on observances dating back to October 1864. The holiday's evolution from the Decoration Day to Memorial Day was gradual, the Constitutional Center says. Congress recognized Decoration Day as a federal holiday in 1938. People began to refer to the holiday as Memorial Day following World War II, and the federal government adopted the Memorial Day name in 1967. Not too far from the Vietnam War.
it's
President
actually
Lyndon.
during because
Yep,
Vietnam
yep,
started
you're
in
right.
'65.
You're right. Well,
We were there in '65.
we were. No offense to our turncoat fucking Frenchmen and your baby blues. President Lyndon Johnson proclaimed it was a, but it was a. We weren't there as a war. In fact, I don't think it's ever really been truly declared as a war.
Yeah,
We
it
were
was.
there to police. We were to police, and well, the French did what they do best: turncoats, and ran and left us stuck there. History of Vietnam and how we got screwed. Johnson proclaims Waterloo, New York, the birthplace of Memorial Day. It was chosen because it hosted an annual community-wide event during which businesses closed and residents decorated the graves of soldiers with flowers, flags, beginning May 5th, 1866. The Constitution Center says the holiday was expanded to honor all American war fatalities after World War I. That became official, the Library of Congress says in 1971, the federal law changed the observance of the holiday to the last Monday in May and extended the honor to all soldiers who died in American wars. Before then, the holiday was observed nationwide on May 30th every year, even after 1971 law. A few states continue to observe the holiday on May 30th. In 2022, every state in the nation will observe Memorial Day on May 30th, the date of the last Monday in May of this year. Interesting little history note. I actually remember in my history class we talked about the origins of Memorial Day, which is interesting
Yeah, it is.
because but it goes back to some things that's happened over the past few years, especially during Obama's term, the removing of our monuments, in particular our Civil War monuments, which goes against the Memorial Day in a sense because it originally started as honoring the Civil War,
And,
which is
and
the greatest tragedy to ever happen on U.S. soil, honestly.
and yet there's still a few of those American soldiers, Civil War, few of those groups that sadly and tragic as it seems, and we're, this is where some of these channels like History and A&E, we as much as we don't like to give them a lot of kudos because of the programming, as it were. How many of these military units that we see every year, they're just now getting the proper recognition that they should have been given decades ago. It's rather sad. I'm a student of history. Um, for a very from very early age, war history. Cat, you need to get down. Um, History has always, particularly American war history has always been my niche. Um, and how is it that I'm just now hearing of some of these different military units that were in operation in the Civil War, like the Buffalo Soldiers? We
Yeah,
weren't taught anything.
I learned about the Buffalo Soldiers and Tuskegee Airmen in
Oh, Tuskegee,
junior
yeah.
high. The Buffalo
But
Soldiers, they were fucking amazing.
right, and we weren't taught um, really anything about them at all. And when I seen that advertised, I was like, whoa. I mean, it's just one of those, and this is just another one of those units that they were fierce as fuck. Um, but we're only now hearing about how many of those units that were operating in World War I and World War II like that.
I
How many
mean,
of those units?
let's look at the Native American unit that we had in
Code
Korea,
talkers.
the Code Talkers. Well, actually, they were called something else, weren't they?
They're Navajo code talkers.
No, I thought they called them something else. But yeah, they were the Navajo Nation. But
Um,
I mean, if it wasn't for them, but yeah, but look how much we've done, our government's done to eradicate the Native Americans, which is well, fuck it, it's Memorial Day podcast. Any topics prohibited, not prohibited. So let's talk about the Native Americans for a bit. And here's my personal opinion why our government and
I have to
elite,
step away
the
for 2 seconds here, so I'm going to
elitists.
give the floor to you.
It's been a while since I've actually done a folklore, legends, and whatever it's called podcast. But I've actually had the privilege of sit down with a lot of elders throughout my years and hear their stories. And it is interesting. And I have a bigger perspective on things now than I've ever had it when it comes to the Native Americans and why they were, for the most part, eradicated. Why they didn't want their history intermingled with ours. It goes back to the ideology of history. The conqueror writes the history, not the conquered. So a lot of the Native American history has been passed down from generation to generation. And for those who aren't Native American, that have had the privilege of sitting down with these older elders and listening to their stories of this history, their history of their tribes. It's amazing. This gets into some weird areas, paranormal areas and stuff. But the Native Americans and a lot of their histories, they talk about the race of the giants and how they fought the giants and basically helped eradicate the giants from the earth or from the United States. And there's many nations, Cherokee Nation, Blackfoot. The stories are similar and the same when they talk about these. And and it's fun to get into these topics because this is history. Might not be the written history as we know it, but it is a history of the people that were conquered. That the powers that be at the time did not want the everyday people knowing. They didn't want them to know these stories, their truths, because it goes back to the status quo system. It goes against what they want you to know, their control mechanism. You know, I can go off on a tangent on this, and I plan on actually doing a podcast. It's been a while since I've done one because I'm fed up with the politics. I am. I'm so sick and tired of it. So maybe in a few weeks to come, look for a different type of podcast over here. It's still history. It's still important information, but it's more fun topics, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, you know, Nephilim, the race of the giants. Nowhere in our written history of the United States do we talk about that. But yet in the Native American history, there is. In archaeological studies, things have been found. That back to Native American history of these topics. The problem is we are so divided and so taught and programmed that these things don't exist, or it's evil to speak of these things. That's how controlled we are. That's how programmed we are to not listen to other people's side of the story when we should, because there's many sides of a story. There's many sides of history. There's the history of the conqueror. There's the history of the conquered. There's a history of the slaves. Slavery has been since the beginning of time and still exists to this day. We have slave markets in the Middle East and Africa. And it doesn't matter your skin color, as politicians want you to believe. If you're poor, if you're an easy target, they'll snatch you up. I mean, we had the Shanghai tunnels in Portland going on after slavery was abolished. Preying on the weak and the poor, or the
We don't hear people bitching and up in arms about the tunnels, and those went all the way to San Francisco.
but let our politicians say it's a color thing. When it came to slavery, it had nothing to do with color. When it came to many of our ancestors who came from Europe, who came in as indentured servants, which means they were slaves, except for they were able to work. They worked to pay off the debt from the people that sponsored to bring them over here. It was still a form of slavery because they were treated like slaves, no different than the colored slaves. The only difference was they paid off their debt and they were free. But as we study some of the colored slavery, we've seen where some slaves did manage to get their freedoms and became plantation owners themselves. That's historical fact.
Well, we could actually there's one that keeps his name keeps getting brought up and kicked around. Samuel Ball. He was a sellout. He's American citizen, sold out, joined the British, and then fled up to Nova Scotia and ended up getting a fair amount of land up in Nova Scotia back in the early 1800s. Perfect case in point. Look that one up. He became a British officer. Nobody wants to talk about that shit, but go on. Did I lose you? Hell, there's a lot of places and a lot of people that they don't want
No,
to
somehow
go.
I got muted.
I didn't do it. But
no, there's a lot of that history that they don't want you to know about. I mean, it goes back to the digital book burning. No difference than what Hitler did and his book burning, removing our monuments. No different than what the Catholic Church did centuries ago, defacing the statue, or not defacing the statues, removing genitalia, putting leaves and frigs on the statues, removing anything that they thought was pagan from their cathedrals that they just took over from some other people.
yeah, that goes back.
There's an actual Latin term for it. I cannot remember it to this day. Of what it's called, what they did, and it was removing anything. It was much like how they created the word heathen, heretic, and pagan.
and
Removing
that actually goes.
anything that went against their teachings. And I hate to say this, guys. Catholicism, Christianity as we know it, is still a new religion.
Goes back to Constantine.
It goes back to Constantine and the Council of Nice.
And somebody, I forget, um, I think it was a video, that I was watching yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. On strangely enough, on a Bigfoot, uh, channel, of all things. It's surprising that you mentioned that topic.
Well, I mentioned that
That
topic because that's part of the Indian history.
right, but it was as strange as it would. It seems that initially the Bible, and I found this very very shocking, and I haven't had time to actually go through and vet it. That the Bible was initially 770 some books.
Oh, the Bible, I mean, truthfully, if it wasn't for the Council of Nice dictating what was going to be printed and what wasn't, would be huge.
That I agree with, or that I believe.
I mean, as it is, we have two forms of Bibles. Well, we have more than two forms. I mean, but the most common assumption, we have the Catholicism Bible, which contains the Apocrypha. Then we have Christians' Bibles, Baptist, which does not contain the Apocrypha. But there was so many more. I mean, what about the 7 books of Moses?
Yep. But I just thought that
There's
was
many of them.
rather. I just thought it was rather strange that something like that would land on a Bigfoot channel. I was like,
Well,
weird.
see, for me, it would, because I've talked about this. The Bible depicts, talks about the Nephilim, the race of giants.
Yep.
Could Bigfoot not be the descendants of the Nephilim?
I've never thought about it quite in that light, but yeah, it would make sense. And I have heard elders speak about this, but I never put that in that.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, Nephilims are nothing but were the offspring of the fallen angels. So, I mean,
Right.
essentially, they would have that divine spark, so to speak, to be able to do things that we can't do. Let me rephrase, we can do. We've just forgotten how to, and forgotten how to access those parts of our mind, because we only use 5% of our brain.
And that argument could be how many actually use that much.
Well, no. Normal person only uses 4 to 5% of their brain. A genius, such as Einstein, only used 7% of his brain. Think about that. We have all this unlocked potential right in our own minds that we don't even have a clue. But yet we're told certain other knowledges are forbidden fruit. It's evil. But yet, my perspective, anybody that was in the occult, Golden Dawn, Thelema or whatever the bigger organizations of OTO that became anybody and anybody, they left those organizations. They started studying other religions and metaphysical stuff. I mean, in fact, there's several. There's a book where it breaks down the paradigms of magic, where it breaks it down to spiritual, which is religions we deal with every day today. They're spiritual in nature. But yet, I've been so blessed in my life. I've met so many people, got to interact with so many people from different cultures, different beliefs. This is what it means to be truly open-minded, guys. Listening to them, not questioning question what they say, but not right there. Listening to what they say. I've met healers that could touch you and tell you what ails you, and I can't explain it to this day. Well, I can now, but back then I couldn't. They were Christians, but yet my denomination as a Baptist didn't recognize them. They were wrong. They were evil, or not so much evil. They were misguided sinners. The Catholic Church was evil. Baptist, fire, brimstone, the whole 9 yards. Yep. I made it a goal, a point. After that, once I started questioning things, to learn each religion, go to each denomination of Christianity, Catholicism, Lutheranism, uh, Methodist, Pentecostal, and I seen the same thing, just a different label. I seen some that was wow, man, the way they get the spirit in them, oh, it was amazing to watch. But when the preacher started preaching, it was the same thing. Hey, can you type that? Greeting viewer?
Yes, I did. We got somebody hanging out in there.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Hoping
'cause
to.
I seen it as me. I was like, wait, I didn't type anything. I mean,
Oh,
have I had
that's
that
you
much to
hanging
drink?
out in there.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's not me hanging out in there. No,
Um,
it was just I was like, damn, have I had that much to drink? I've forgotten I actually typed something. I'm like, damn, I'm only on my first glass.
nothing like getting side railed,
Yeah, I just
but
happened to glance over and was like, wait, I didn't type that. But I
you
mean,
forgot that.
there's just so much. But we're programmed to not question things. We're programmed to sit in this label or be subcategorized. I mean, labels, that's what a label is. It's meant to categorize you and subcategorize you and divide you. But yet you adhere to a label. You're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're anything but you. I am that I am. Period. I ain't nobody else's puppet, slave, nothing. I am that I am. I am the master of my own temple. I'm the master of myself. No one else is my master. That should be your mentality. That should be your everyday motto in life. But yet we're still caught in this stupid caste system that says we have to be ruled by others. People have to be placed above us. In our everyday workplace, we have a foreman, we have a supervisor, we have a shift lead, we have a manager, we have the corporate office branches with all their little labels. All have the property and governance over the worker, you, the peon. You voice your opinion, it doesn't go with them, well, there's the door. It's our policy. What you say may be right or wrong, but it don't matter. This is our policy. Either you suck it up, or there's the door, or we'll just fire you for questioning us. Every branch and everything in society is based on the caste system. We still live in the caste system. We haven't gotten rid of it. We'll never get rid of it because for some odd reason we're programmed to have somebody in charge of us instead of us being a masters of ourselves. Essentially, we're still all slaves to the system. Unless you're wealthy and celebrity, and even they're masters to their own caste. We're we're our caste are the working people. We work, so we answer to the people above us. We're not totally free, but yet I am free. My mind is free as it's ever been and ever will. Well, I'm not gonna say ever will be because we're every day we're learning, we're growing. Every day my mind's getting freer and freer. Every day I'm seeing everything that I've been taught through my years from all these different people, all these different beliefs, because I listened to them, because I questioned things they said. I see it now. Through my occult studies and practices and teachings, I see all the psychological warfare, magic, mumbo jumbo being used against each and every one of you, and you're blind to it. I see it manipulating and affecting you in ways you don't understand. Does it affect me? No, because I see it. I instantly throw up the warding and blocks to block it out. Why? Because I've been blessed to be taught those things. But to you, it's taboo, it's forbidden, it's evil. It's knowledge you should have in your own personal weapons, in your own personal defense. But let me tell you this to all you Christians out there, if you believe in God and you truly believe it, there's your armor. Use it. Have faith and believe in those words, and it just will work just like anything I do. Faith without works is dead. You have to have faith in whatever you do and whatever spirituality you claim. Nothing wrong with spirituality. It's the dogma. It's the dogma they use to control you and control your minds and enslave you. Telling you this group of people are wrong, this group of people are evil. They divide you. When they divide you, they conquer you. It happens in every form of our systems. You have now the knowledge, you heard me speak, to use it, to understand it, to awaken and see these things happening and question these things. You have the ability now to question everything I just said because you were taught what I just said is evil. Some will just instantly be offended and turn it off. Run for the hills. Good. Do it. You can't stop the seed already planted. You heard it. That is the power of your voice and words. You have more power in you than you ever realize, will ever realize. Am I an influencer? If I choose to be. If I choose to give my words power, yes. But if I choose to be an informer, then I'm just informing you with no strings attached. I'm just planting that seed to make you question things, and that is my only objective. Intent is important. And you can call me probably one of the most evilest son of bitches that ever walked this earth, and I'd probably tell you, yes, you are right. But I'm also the most loving, caring person you'll ever meet. I have multiple hats for each day of the week. Careful which one you pick. I've stated it from the beginning. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Never, nor do I want to be. I am me. I share the information I have, and I catch fucking hell for it from all sides. Oh, you can't to be telling people that? Why can't I? They have a right to know. But I don't care. There's some things I won't tell you. Yes, there are several things I won't ever divulge, teach, tell. Not even to one of my own students. Those are the things I wish I was never taught or learned or realized they were in my mind. But it's in everybody's mind if you know how to access those parts of the mind you don't use. Our mind is the next most powerful thing we possess. Our words are words of creation. We speak and we create. Either we send that vibration out, it stirs people to be happy, to be mad, to be pissed, to feel loved, to inspire, to knock them down. That's the power of our words. That's the power of the vibration we put into those words. Our words, our voice is that of creation. And God spoke and He so created the world. He created the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the people through His voice. That's how powerful your words are if you learn how to use them. Boy, this is some Memorial Day weekend special, isn't it?
Yeah, people don't. They don't have a. Some people just don't. They don't
They
think.
don't have a clue. Honestly, I'm not feeling. I mean, let's talk about different hats we put on. We have different personas we use. I'm not feeling much like Drew or Andrew. I'm feeling more like Smiley. And my friends that know me that call me by Smiley, they know Smiley, but they also know Drew, which is what I normally go by anymore anyway, because I like it. Believe it or not, funny story behind the nickname Drew. It's not a nickname; it's part of my name. First time somebody used it, I hated it. It was in 4-H camp. I don't know this chick. She. I actually knew her sister or cousin. I went to school with her cousin. She started calling me Drew. She would not stop calling me Drew, and I hated it. Much like I hate the nickname Andy. Oh, I can't stand it.
Oh,
No, because that's what I know. That's how I knew I was in trouble. My mom and dad said Andy. I knew I was in fucking deep trouble.
deep kimchi.
I hated it. And to this day, I will snap at you if you call me Andy. And for the longest, I'd snap at you if you called me Drew. Well, then I got with somebody, and she just kept calling me Drew. And I realized it's a whole different personality of me that I've suppressed. It's a combination of several things. It's a combination of everything I've learned throughout the years. And that's what personality, the concept of taking the God form is. It's taking on a different persona. We create different personas of ourselves. We create different hats when we have all this knowledge. We can jump from one thing to the next because there's power in each and every one of those things. Because it's a label, in a sense. A label has power, it has meaning. It's how we use it or allow it to be used, or if we choose to give it any meaning. And, you know, I like Drew. I like the personality. I like the feelings. It's not, I'm just smiling to smile no matter what I'm feeling. Smiley is a deceiver. It's the face I put on. I could be pissed off at the world and everything in it, or depressed, and you would never know it. I have that smile. I have put that energy into that smile to give you that illusion that everything's great, everything's kosher in the world. But in reality, it's not. But in reality, I could be sitting there waiting to tear your head off and you not know it. I am that ghost, that shadow that stands right behind you. You know the person in the room you never even notice. Why? Because I know how to use that knowledge. I know how to control that energy, the vibrations. But yet, it's not like you think because I don't think it. It happens because without thought, it's action without thought. It's natural. Sometimes I'm not even aware I do it. That's one of the biggest concepts and discussions we had when bunch of us got together and we talked about greatness. Yeah, we didn't want any of that in here. We didn't want the influence, no nothing. We wanted it to be people questioning things, people learning their history, understanding why things are happening, understand the prospects that, yes, I'm a direct descendant of a founder. So is a couple other people that are involved on the outside with this channel. They're direct descendants of founding families of this country. We know our history, we know our lineages, and we understand things. We don't talk about it much. We don't bring it up. We don't throw it in your faces. We're the quiet ones that sit back, watch, speak when it needs to be spoken, entertain when you need to be entertained, talk about important information when it needs to be talked about. Then ignore certain things that don't need to be talked about. Bree might disagree with me on that one, though, but I'm sorry. When something becomes political and they use it for a political agenda, I'm not going to talk about it unless I want to be spiteful and go on the attack myself. Otherwise, no. Why add to the propaganda machine? Sometimes the best way to fucking kill something is kill it with silence. Not retweet it, not share it around, keep it going. Just, it's it. No. Quit being the drama queens. Can we say that anymore? I know it probably means
Um,
something entirely different now.
you know, for me,
I know none of
I'm
my
not
gay friends
known.
would would take offense to it. In fact, they would tell you, yeah, I'm a fucking prima donna diva and fucking deal with it. I'm a drama queen. I mean
I
it.
like you. I have a very broad spectrum of friends too, and I quite frequently I get tossed under the. They quit throwing me under the bus. They just throw me in front of the fucking train. Um, because I am literally like the most un PC uh person in the room, and it doesn't matter what room it is. I'm like the anti PC of them all, and it doesn't really matter what. And I'll say whatever the fuck I got on my mind. And I really don't give a fuck. And people be like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "See, I'm not everybody's cup of coffee. You don't like it. There's the motherfucking door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord splits you. I just plain don't care. And yeah, that does get me in trouble once in a while, but it is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. Um, but different people, they react differently, and sometimes you have to say things that do trigger people, not to get a response, you know, but others, they just don't understand. They don't have that ability to just look at things from a different point of view. You know, I say it irregardless, until I'm corrected, and it's like I was. Oh fuck, we got to know data. Um,
It's been happening.
um, but it's my question. I and I got to give kudos. I was talking to Hunter this week about in past streams since no topic has seems to have been off limits, and we've been talking about school boards and shit. Um, that parents not they've been uh castrated from speaking in opposition to anything at school boards. Um, Now I talked to him about this whole fucking litter box bullshit. Um, Now appearing in different schools, and he corrected me on a few things, and it's like, really, seriously, have we went that far down in the fucking shitter, literally, for lack of a better word, that we even have to um, be allowing or trying to figure this shit out and go delving down? I mean, what the fuck, you mentioned that the New York shit, and I was like, for real? The X thing, that actually, if you really want to be on the correct side of this, the X was first used it with my ancestors, uh, back with the Native Americans,
I mean,
was where that
it
first was
no, it
used,
dates back farther than that.
at least in this country.
It, it was. I mean, it's not just this country. I mean, the history of it dates way back. People to
Well,
sign their
yeah.
mark. In order to sign your mark, people that couldn't read or write would sign an X.
Now we are, just so you know, we are at the 52-minute mark on this hour. Just FYI. But it's so demeaning.
Well, yeah, it is. But they're saying it's because you're choosing it as your gender. Your gender is either male or female. Get over it. Your DNA dictates who and what you are. Quit living in a fucking fetish fantasy life, because that's what you're playing is a fantasy or fetish adult concept.
It just it blows my fucking mind that this is even that we even have to have this fucking conversation. Um, I that I was grateful that uh, Hunter was able, he had the knowledge and was able to um, enlighten me. But the mere fact that we even had to have this conversation was so um so out of this world, and how dehumanizing I felt after the conversation. I was like, fucking seriously. I wanted to uh go to the gym and work the heavy bag, but my hands already fucked up, and if I would have hit it with my other hand, man, that just would have been an expedient trip to the hand surgeon to get my other hand fixed. Um, it just wouldn't have worked out at all for me. I'm furious over this shit. You know, I can see New York, but I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen this in on the other coast first, to be quite honest.
Oh, I agree.
You know, it. Oh, my cat's trying to say hi. um, well, one of them was. Um, but you know, let's keep it all the way real. There's only um, anybody. There's only one fucking race, the human race.
Right.
Let's keep it all the way real. Um, there's only one race. You cut them, they're going to bleed red. Um, yeah, there's different um, ethnic needs um, to to a degree, but let's keep it all the way fucking real here, um, and be on the right side um, of this thing. And but I also agree with Kierkegaard on this too. If you want to go back in history, um, it, as soon as you put a label on a race, you've automatically negated them.
Yeah.
Um, and so
I mean, labels are just meant to divide. They're meant to
exactly.
categorize you, subcategorize you. No, we're all human beings. We have nationalities. Nothing wrong with that. That as far as if you want to make your ethnicity, fine. But I don't see you as a skin color. I see you as a human.
I
That's what
am
I see.
like I
I
am
judge you by your
so
actions, not your fucking words.
I get accused by some of my teammates of being colorblind. When it comes to race, ethnicity, yeah, I am probably one of the most colorblind people in the world when it comes to that. I don't see race at all. Um, Skin color, I don't see it. Um, I judge it by the energy and action
No,
thereof.
and when you start seeing it as that, you're just falling victim to the control machine because they want you to see it that way. They want you to divide yourselves from each other, and we can't have that. We've got too much division in this world. The fucking movement, Black Lives Matter. Fuck your movement. All lives matter. We're all humans. That is the most racist statement ever made when they put another race above another. That is racism in its doctrine. When you put your race above another, all lives matter. I don't care who takes offense. I hope you do. Because every single life matters. No matter what your skin color, no matter what your nationality is, your lives matter. Oh, I'm a hypocrite because I don't don't support Ukraine. Not my fucking war, not my country. Not my problem. There is this thing, mind your own fucking business. And it's time we stop being the fucking police of the world and mind our own fucking business and focus on our own problems right here in our own home country. We've got too much. We've got more than enough headaches and problems right here in our own country than we need to be focusing on than some non-ally. Oh, you're unhumanitarian. No, I'm not a humanitarian. It's a political fucking gambit. It's all it is. It's about money, stealing money. And one, that's not our problem. That's Russia's problem. Let's keep it all the way for real. That used to be Russia.
The first capital of Russia, actually. And that goes back to the 900s for people. That skirmish goes back to the 900s. If people would do their fucking history.
And to believe everything that you've heard on TV, you're a fool. We're talking about the same people who told you the Hunter laptop didn't exist. We're talking about the paid actors who cried all those fake fucking tears this week and screaming gun control. Kiss my fucking ass. There's a reason why they call the network cable network news entertainment. They are a bunch of paid fucking actors. They're not journalists.
Thunder, get down.
They are part of the Obama's executive order propaganda machine. I don't care. That goes for all of them, Fox included. They all adhere to one ideology, one color, one label. They are just as much as part of the problem as everything else is. In fact, they're worse than the problem because they're spewing lies and deceit and manipulating you willingly. They're the true fucking prostitutes and whores of this world.